series of videos, I'm teaching you how to split playing cards and make your own gaffs and gimmicks. In the previous video, I walked you through how to break in the cards, split the cards, and buff off the burrs. In this video, we're going to cover how to reassemble the cards and make them perfect. So to get started, you're going to need a couple of things. You need some rubber cement, and you're going to need a rubber cement eraser. Technically, this is something that you could probably live without, as rubber cement, whenever it dries, it just rubs away. However, this comes in really handy to make your surface just really clean, really fast. So definitely invest in a rubber cement eraser. You can get them at Hobby Lobby or any sort of craft stores for just a couple of bucks. And of course, rubber cement is pretty much available anywhere. I prefer the Elmer's No Wrinkle rubber cement. It's just a couple of bucks at Walmart. You can get it at any craft store or anything like that as well. So let's get into how to reassemble these split playing cards. All of these split cards have had the chance to be pressed for at least 24 hours, just like we talked about in our previous video. One other thing I wanted to touch on from our previous video is if you are using travel cards or any sort of cards that have the plastic coating like we talked about that are only 2 layers thick instead of like a standard bicycle card with the air cushion finish being 3 layers thick, you do not want to break in those cards like we showed for bicycle cards. If you do that with cheaper versions of playing cards like the plastic coated travel decks such as that, those will actually ruin the cards themselves as opposed to doing what you want, which is just breaking in the glue. So keep that in mind whenever you're splitting those types of cards. My process of reassembling these cards is a little bit different than what I've seen some other people do. Traditionally, what is taught is to take a thin piece and a thick piece and reattach those together so that way you have a perfect thickness of playing card. However, if you remember in our last video, whenever I mentioned that I like to sand down my thicker cards a little further, I actually like to sand these to the point where they're really, really thin. They've still got a nice snap to them. They're still a little bit thicker than what these thinner cards are. However, I've given up most of the glue surface that's on the back of these. By doing that, I can take 2 thick pieces of card, stick those 2 pieces together, and this card will have a snap just like it's supposed to have if it were a normal playing card. However, if you were to take just a thin piece and apply that with a rubber cement layer in between, these cards tend to be kind of flimsy. For this example of making a gaff card, I'm going to use 2 redback thick pieces. Okay? These pieces have been sanded down just like we talked about previously. In order to properly do this, you want to coat both halves in rubber cement and let those halves dry. Rubber cement is a contact adhesive, so you let it dry beforehand, you touch the 2 pieces together and they make a bond. We'll walk you through that right now. So we're going to take our rubber cement, hold one finger down and go from the middle out whenever you're applying the rubber cement. You can do this on just about any surface. If you're worried about your working surface, of course you can place a piece of paper down. So you just work your way out. Whenever you're getting close to the edge that you're touching, just switch over. You're going to have to touch a little bit of the glue. I apologize. It's just the way it is. All right, so we've got this piece all covered up. We'll do it just like that. And we're going to do another coat over on this card. Remember to keep the coat thin and as even as possible, stretching over the entire card. And keep going from the middle out. If you don't go from the middle out, it might clunk up your edges with excess glue. But if that does happen, I'll show you how to take care of that. Now both of my pre-split pieces are coated with this glue. Now we just let it dry. Now that your glue has completely had a chance to dry, you want to go ahead and remove them from the glued area. And watch how quickly this rubber cement eraser works out. So we've got all of our rubber cement here. We just roll over just like this. And as you can see, all that rubber cement just peels right away off of my surface super easily, just like so. And just that quickly, my surface is clean. And as you can see on the rubber cement eraser, all of the rubber cement just balls up right there. You can take it off and clean it if you want to. Put this back in your case for now. You won't need it for a little bit. For the next part of the reassembly process, you're going to need to grab yourself a ruler and a Sharpie marker or some sort of rolled surface. A pencil works great for this. I prefer using a Sharpie marker just because it's a nice smooth surface. We've got our two split halves that are covered in rubber cement. We're going to take our ruler and we're going to put it right in front of us. We're going to take both of the halves and butt them to the ruler so that they are flush. Then we're going to take and keep them flush against the ruler and move them in to each other so that they butt up against each other, just like so. And then you're going to tap your seam just like that. Once you've moved these two pieces together, they should automatically stick just like that. And you are ready to fold them over. So you're just going to flip one end over and let it fall. As it falls, it should automatically line up pretty perfectly. I like to pick it up from this point and just kind of touch the edges just to make sure. And then I'm going to start moving from the middle out to tack everything into place. Okay? By doing this, you're able to find any of your edges that might be a little off. Lay it on your working surface and grab your Sharpie or the pen that or the pencil that you're going to be using, what have you. You want to lay it down and move out both sides. And then you want to go the opposite direction. We're going to flip that card over. We're going to do the same thing. Lock it out. Now, I like to go diagonally across just to make sure I get all those glue lines as well. Now this card has a snap just like a regular playing card. It is just slightly thicker than a regular playing card. However, if you sand the surfaces well enough, you can get them almost exactly the same thickness as a regular playing card, and the snap is perfect. Now, if you're just getting started and you want to make your own gaff or gimmick and immediately use it right after you make it, you probably could with this style of gimmicking playing cards. However, if you want your gimmick to be perfect and last you a long time, you want to press the card just like you did when we split them. So take out your wood or anything you're using to press these cards. If you're using a big book or what have you, we're going to press just like so. Okay. We'll just use 2 clamps on this one. All right, leave this pressed for at least 48 hours. Ideally, you want to leave these pressed for up to 7 days. So I have a gaff in here that I've already pre-made that has been resting for 24 hours. It's got a nice snap to it, and it's ready to be finished. And now I'm going to show you how to finish the edges of the playing card. You'll notice that you've got some glue residue built up on the edges of the playing card. You're going to grab your rubber cement eraser, put the card face down, and you're going to run over the side edges, just like so. You want to run over the backing of the card and then overlap the edge. And you flip it over, do it again on the other side. This will take care of the majority of the excess glue. Now you just want to take your rubber cement eraser and very lightly. Go across your edges. And just like that, you've made your first gaffed card. Now you know all the basics of splitting playing cards and also reassembling them. I've got one more video for you, and in the next video I'm going to walk through how to make a little bit more advanced of gaffed cards.